Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So guys, today we're going to discuss something that you are going to learn a whole lot from. Couples should watch this video. They're going to learn a lot. It's going to open their eyes. And for the singles as well, they need to watch this video so that they can avoid some of these mistakes that brings up some of these things in their family. So the singles are the ones that even need it more, but the couples can as well watch it. So please, one thing you need to do for me is to share this video after watching it. Do not keep it for yourself. Please share it with your contacts, your friends, or well-wishers, be it married or single. Please share it. They are going to learn a whole lot from it. It will open their eyes. So we are going to look at dangers of growing in a toxic family. Yes, dangers of growing in a toxic family. The truth is that the way you are being brought up will definitely affect your personality, who you are, the way you think, the way you reason, the way you relate with people. It will definitely affect it, whether positively or negatively. So that is why where the children grow should be taken care of very well so that it will not affect them negatively, because whatever that happens around them when they are growing up will definitely affect them either positively or negatively. So please, as parents, avoid whatever that will affect your children negatively tomorrow. Try as much as you can to keep the environment good enough for them to grow so that they will not have some of these negative effects I'm going to mention now. So we're going to look at some of the dangers of growing in a toxic family. And the first point we are going to look at is it makes you not to know who you are. Yes, any child that grows up in a toxic family, hardly knows who they are. They find it so difficult to fit in, especially when they are with other people from different backgrounds. They always find it so difficult to fit in because of the experiences they've had while growing up. They find it so difficult to know who they are, what they can afford, what they can achieve, what they can, do. They have that kind of inferiority complex. They find it so difficult to fit in some certain things. That's very, very dangerous. Sometimes they can be so lost in themselves. They will be so lost in themselves and they find it so difficult to relate with others. So that's very, very dangerous. When you have a child who does not want to relate with anybody, he just wants to be alone. No, I'm not talking about being an introvert. It's a different ballgame. Yes, there are people that are introverts. It's not what I'm talking about. But sometimes there are a lot of children you see that they always want to stay on their own, maybe because of their experiences, because of the kind of family they are coming from. They just want to stay alone to avoid any form of trouble, not to look for anybody's trouble. And sometimes they end up being bullied because what they are trying to avoid in return affects them as well. So you find out that they just want to stay in a quiet place. They just want to stay alone. They want to avoid every other person. They find it so difficult to find themselves. They find it so difficult to fit in. They are so lost in themselves. So that is very, very dangerous. I know that there is another way of it as well. You see some children becoming a bully because of the family they are coming from. They will become a bully wherever they find themselves. They want to intimidate people, especially when it has to do with a man. Maybe if their father is the one that is always bullying their mother, they want to bully other children when they get outside. They will, especially the female ones, they want to bully them, thinking that what their father is doing is the right thing. So that's the way they're supposed to relate with other girls out there. So you find that this thing has two different ways it affects them. It can affect the child to be so timid. It can affect the child not to be, fitting whenever he or she is with his peers. It can also affect the child to make him or her become a bully. So it has different ways it can affect them negatively. And whichever way it does is a very bad effect. Whether it affects them to be always be alone or it affects them to become a bully. None of them is good. So that is to show you how dangerous it can be on your children. So please try as much as you can to avoid some of these things because it will definitely affect the children negatively. So whatever you do, whatever happens in your home will have effect on them, whether positively or negatively, depending on what is happening. So if it is the right thing, if it is a good environment, definitely it will affect them positively. But if it is a bad environment, it will also affect them negatively. So please know this, and please avoid whatever that will make the house so uncomfortable for your children. Please. So the next point we're going to look at is they keep everyone at arm's length. Yes, they keep everyone at arm's length. Yes, once you are from a toxic family, you find it difficult to be in a relationship. You won't know how to relate with people because you are always afraid of two things. Is either you are being hurt in that relationship or you hurt someone. So you find out that most times they will be so afraid of, entering into a relationship or taking a relationship so serious because they feel that what happens in their homes can actually happen between them and their partners. So they will be so afraid of entering into any relationship, going into any relationship. So it affects them in this aspect as well because they will either be bullied or, sorry, they will either be hurt or them, they will end up hurting someone. So it has that negative effects on them that they won't have a good relationship or have a good partner or relate with people well or have a sound relationship. It will definitely affect them because either of these things may just come up. That's really their thought. Is either they will be hurt or they will hurt someone. So it will affect their relationship as well. So the next point we are going to look at is they are always walking on eggshells. They are always walking on eggshells. They are so conscious of how they relate with people because most times they wouldn't want to hurt somebody. They wouldn't want to get hurt as well. Just like I've mentioned earlier, it's make them not to bring out their real self. They will always want to hide themselves. You can't get the better parts of them. You can't get the best out of them. You can't get who they truly are. So they will always try to hide everything about them. Sometimes they will try to buckle up things. They find it difficult to express themselves. They find it difficult to, tell people when they hurt them or handle hurt when it comes. So you find out that this can affect them in this area as well. They always want to remain in their shell. They don't want to bring out themselves. They don't want to express themselves. They don't want to be called names. They don't want to be, known. They just want to be on their own, just like I mentioned earlier. So that's another effect. So you won't see the best of them. You won't see what is inside of them. You won't see what they are capable of doing. Sometimes even positive things, you can't bring it out because they're always afraid. They are always of being in conflict with people. They are always in being with, having a misunderstanding with people. So it affects them a lot. So please, parents, try to create a good environment for your children because this can affect them mentally if the environment is so toxic for them. So the next point we are going to look at is they constantly blame themselves for every error. They constantly blame themselves for every error. Even sometimes when they are not even the one at fault, they will always take the blame because they feel that that is how it has always been. They are always at fault at every point in time. And sometimes it could also be from the parents as well. When some parents always want to a child to accept that they are always at fault at every point in time, even when them as parents are the ones at fault, but they will always push it towards the child. That will make the child to accept everything that goes wrong. He will always accept that he's the one at fault. She will always accept that she's the one at fault, even when he or she is not the one at fault, because their parents have been able to mold them into accepting any error that they are the ones at fault. So parents should also do better in this aspect. Learn to hear from your children and also learn to accept your mistake as a parent because some parents do this in order to cover their own errors. So instead of them accepting their mess, they will push it they will push it to the child and make the child accept that truly they are the ones at fault and not you as a parent. So learn how to own up to your mess and ask for forgiveness from your children if need be. Do not push it towards them and make them accept that they are only ones at fault. No, it doesn't make sense at all. To definitely affect those children. Always accept any nonsense, feeling that they are the ones always at fault. So it has a very negative effect on the children as well. So please try to avoid that by all means. If you mess up, please own up to it. If a child makes it up and the other one is innocent, please let it be known that this one is innocent and this one is at fault. Don't always push it towards one child because you love that one, you love the other one, so you try to push it to this other one. When you do that, it becomes the whole thing becomes so toxic for the child that in every misunderstanding between him and his siblings, you will always be the one to be blamed. So it makes him to accept everything, every wrongs, that he's the one at fault, even when he's not at home, even while is with his peers outside or while in school, he will always accept every wrong that he's the one at fault. So please, parents should do better. Don't always push things to one child that he's always wrong and other ones are innocent. Please try to settle misunderstandings between your children amicably and don't always push it towards one child and then neglect or see the others as saints. Please know the best way to settle issues between them, settle misunderstanding between them, settle conflicts between your children. Do not push it to one child every time and the others are always innocent. It will have a negative effect on that child. Even when he's outside, it will have a negative effect on him because he will always accept every wrong, that he's the one at fault every time. So the next point we are going to look at is they can't stand failures. Yes, if a child grows up in a family where the parents believe so much in perfection, it will become like a serious pressure on that child, and that is also toxic on the child's side. So when you are yes, a parent wants perfection every time, that child will be so afraid of failing at any point in time. Instead of him to fail, he will try as much as he can to avoid that. He will go to the point of even bribing his teachers just because he doesn't want to fail, and that has become a serious issue. That's also toxic. So when we're talking about toxicity, it's not just all about maybe the parents are always fighting, that is all. No, toxicity can come in different ways. When you become that kind of parents that you want to kill your child because the child took second, you want to kill your child because your child took fifth, you want to kill the child, because you just want that child to be perfect. You just want that child, you are mounting so much pressure on that child. It makes the whole thing toxic for that child. Seriously, the pressure will be so much on him that he will want to do anything just to make you happy. He would want to go to any length just to give you what you want, even if it means bribing his teachers, even if it means doing one thing or the other just to be at the top. They can do that because they want to give you that perfection you want. They want to be at the top, they want to be the first in their class. So please, there are some things we do that we don't take it as anything, but it brings a lot of toxicity in the life of our children and it can make them to do some nasty things just to please us. So please, if you're that type of person that you always love perfection, just bear it in mind that there is something they call failure. The child will not always be at the top. Sometimes people will be ahead of that child. Understand, make the child understand that it mustn't be up every time. But one thing you need to do is to continue pushing to be the best you can be. But bear it in mind that there is something we call failure. Sometimes you may fail in life, but that is not the end of the road. So when you make them understand this, even when failure comes, they know that it is part of life. They will keep on striving to be better or to become the better version of themselves. So make them understand them and not make them to see failure as a taboo. And because of that, they are ready to do anything negative just to get to that point. So please try and avoid some of these things. Perfection is good, but not for them to do anything, not to the point of going to any length just to get it done. Please Also make them understand that there is something they call failure and it is part of life as well. So the next point we are going to consider is they are always afraid of standing for themselves. They are always afraid of even standing for others. They are always afraid of facing people. So you find out that in this kind of scenario, they try to avoid anything that will bring up misunderstanding between them and people out there. So because they are coming from a family, sorry, if the parents are the type that fight every time, so you find out that the children will try to avoid anything that can bring misunderstanding between them and anybody. Sometimes they will need to swallow rubbish just to keep everything calm, just for them to avoid any form of conflict between them and every other person. And you find out that in this kind of scenario, their fellow children can step on their foot, step on them, do whatever they want to do on them, but they won't react, they won't talk because they don't want to bring any form of fight, bring any form of conflict, bring any form of misunderstanding. So they will try to avoid all these things because they want peace to reign. They wouldn't want what is happening in their homes to start happening in school as well. So sometimes they will have to sacrifice their happiness, sacrifice their comfort. And children, that most times, if a child finds out that a particular child does not react to things, they want to bully that child. They can easily bully that child because they feel that the child cannot defend himself, the child cannot stand up for himself. So these are some of the things that can come up if your child is being raised in a toxic home. Sometimes it can make them try to keep peace, try to make peace to reign every time. Even when they are being hurt, they will not talk, they will just keep quiet, endure everything just for peace to reign. It is also good for a child to stand up for himself. It's very, very good. If not, others will bully him or her. So when it has gone also to the point that the child cannot stand up for himself, he will be bullied, she will be bullied, and that will not be a good effect. That will not be good for the child at all. So the next point we're going to look at is they always feel exhausted after spending time with their family. They're always exhausted, always so tired whenever they spend time with their family members. Growing up in a toxic family can make you physically drained, emotional drained, mentally drained. These are some of the effects that can come up once you're growing up in a toxic family. It can drain you mentally, physically, and every other aspect. It can drain you. You just be tired, just be exhausted because of the fight, settling fights here and there, but settling quarrel here and there. Sometimes you will no longer concentrate on the things you're supposed to do because the whole thing has taken over your mental health. So you find it so difficult to concentrate on the things you need to do, and that will affect whatever you do around you. That's how dangerous it can be. They feel so exhausted, they feel so absent minded, they feel so irritated by every little thing. So it has a lot of negative effects on children. So that is why every parent should try as much as they can to make the home, a better place, a good environment for the children to grow. Because if it is toxic, it will affect every other thing around them. You wouldn't want them to always be sad every time. So try as much as you can to create a good environment for them. It will go a very long way for them. So guys, this is why I'm ending it for today. Please do remember to subscribe to my channel, like, comment, and share this video. And please, please, please share this video. It will help a family out there. Thanks guys for your time, and bye for now.